Yeah, so I'm working on Mr. Archvile today. This was probably my favorite design of the bunch that I received from the folks over at id. This was one of Adrian's bad boys, and currently I'm just getting him ready to print. I had kind of blocked him out. Actually, I thought he was a lot further along than he was. I decided to do a lot of refinement on him. I had been working on him for a while, but I put him down, and then I opened it back up and decided that his anatomy had gotten too mushy, and I just didn't like it. So I'm kind of getting it all tightened up right now. I want his skin to look a little tighter. It's getting a little too wrinkled and weird looking. And then I basically got all these different pieces, so he's broken down into multiple pieces, and I've got to get each one cleaned up and then merge it all together so I can print him. If you put something down for a while and you come back to it, you always see something, so it's good. The work will be better for it. So, what if you're a big Doom fan, like from the old days, one of the things that was kind of a constant joke was the asses on the monsters. It was always, hey, look at that ass. They would always show shots of the cyber demon's ass because Adrian had sculpted this super muscly ass. So on this guy here, we're making sure that he's got a proper Doom monster ass on it. And I've got this great reference that I'm using. This guy's just hysterical. So anyway, this. I saw this and I was like, that guy's got actual Doom monster ass, right? This is a fact, Doom monster ass. So I'm kind of recreating Doom monster ass over here, and I can see now that I'm looking is that the crack is not nearly deep enough on my Doom monster ass over here, so I need to work on that, making his crack, a little more pronounced. The baboon ass. But he was definitely my favorite drawing that I got from id. As far as I was like, man, this is gonna be a fun character to work on. I thought he was a really strong character, so I just got to make sure that he has an ass that's worthy of Doom legacy. And so yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting this guy out into the printer. It's lots of work. I started off today watching the extended editions of Lord of the Rings. I thought maybe if I committed to watching the entire thing while I was working, I might actually complete this today, but now I kind of realize that that's not going to happen, so I switched over to watching Pumpkinhead, which was one of my influences on the movie, on this character as I was working on it. I had Pumpkinhead on in the background. Over the years, when I first was working on Doom, I wasn't an animator, so I really hadn't experienced what does body proportions do for making how a character looks when they move and stuff like that. So I wasn't as attuned to what makes for something that looks awkward when it's moving and that sort of stuff. I had my makeup effects experience, but a lot of that you're kind of restrained to the human proportions, and so when you build on top of it, it falls into line with that. And if you go too far outside that, it becomes outlandish. But when I was working on that, they sent me some drawings of the Archvile. For example, one of the things I'm changing currently on the Archvile is originally they sent me a drawing, and his legs were broken into two parts like a normal person. But there was something kind of awkward about the top leg being kind of too long, the thigh being too long. And I followed it in my design, but I probably ended up exaggerating it too much. So it looked like his thigh was just huge and long, and his calf was this short thing. And it used to drive me crazy playing the game. I used to go, why did I not see that when I was working on it and that sort of stuff? So over the years, when I've started to design stuff in recent years, I will actually just take primitive shapes and hook them up to skeletons and figure out how they'll move before I even look at adding a bunch of detail onto it. Because honestly, the first thing you see when you're working on something or when you're looking at a creature is its silhouette and how does it move. So I kind of backwards engineer you know, from sort of like motion now back into the look of the creature. Instead of going creature first, then figuring out how it's going to move, I kind of like to think about how it moves first. So, which is so, and so with the Archvile, I've now basically broken him into having sort of like a three, you know, like a dog leg kind of thing, like a lot of the other demons in Doom do. There's not really any sort of like just other bipedal demon that doesn't have sort of the goat demon leg thing, right? So I figured I'd just bring that sort of thing to him because I think he looks way cooler with that sort of leg set up. So a little update on the Unreal Mastermind. I've taken a lot of these parts into Maya and into ZBrush to prep them for getting them to be into an animatable state. So the topology on these guys is a lot cleaner now. I can show you and drop down this down to here, show you what he looks like. So now the edge flows on this stuff follows the direction of the eyes and the mouth and all that stuff a lot cleaner, and it's a lot easier to deal with. And I also separated the body from the brain so I can do different kinds of effects and materials on them. So I can do something to kind of pulse the brain that won't affect the body. So I'm doing some things like that. So currently, let's see, he's got, how many millions of polygons does he have currently? He has 48 million polygons, actually closer to 49. It's been a while since I've picked it up. I can work on this stuff forever. I still have a lot of cleanup to do. He's certainly cleaner than he was in the original game, but wanted to clean him up a little bit more for this Unreal test. But he's getting there, so another half day or so on this guy, and then off to getting him, start putting some color on him inside of Mari, which is where I do most of my texture work. And then I'll start finishing out his mechanical bits and start looking at getting him rigged. Maybe able to get something moving in Unreal soon. So that's the current state of affair in Doomland over here in Gregor world. So that and hanging out with my dogs, which is always a good thing.